Sarah and welcome to Listenable, my corner of BookTube where we discuss all things accessible reading. For today's video, we're going to discuss my November's most anticipated releases. Now when this video goes up, there are a couple of those books that have already released, but I thought I might just remind you of them anyway, and then we'll go on and cover the rest of the November's books. So now's the point at which you curl up with a good cup of tea and let's get started. First up, on the 11th of November, we've got The Strength of the Few by James Islington, and this one's read by Ewan Morton. Now, The Will of the Many, the first book in the Hierarchy series, is something that I haven't actually read yet, and I didn't read it because I decided that everybody had said this cliffhanger in this book is incredible, and I'm not sure I could have read this series and then waited an unprecedentedly long amount of time for the next book in the series. So what I decided to do was wait for the second book to come out, The Strength of the Few, and then I was going to read these books together. What worries me is I'm going to get to the end of The Strength of the Few and the same thing's going to happen again. There's going to be a cliffhanger and I'm going to just have to wait that year for the next book. So James Islington, I really do hope you hurry up and get this next book out. I know you've only released this one this week, but please get the next one out because I'm so excited to read these books. This series follows Vis. Now, he's a young man and I think it's going to follow him through his life. This is a dark academic read following Vis as he navigates his way through this world because his parents were killed by some of the people in it, and I think it's going to have a lot of those same themes as Red Rising does by Pierce Brown, and I can't wait to get stuck into these books in the new year. Next up, on the 13th of November, we've got one of my own personal most anticipated releases of the year, and it's Brigands and Bread Knives by Travis Baldree. Now, what's wonderful about Travis Baldree's books is he narrates them all himself. Now, for those that haven't read any books in his series before, the first book is Legends and Lattes. Now, in this book, we're following Viv and Orc, and she has been a mercenary for an entire life, so it's all she's ever known. But one day she goes out and discovers something wonderful, and it's coffee, and she decides she's going to open a coffee shop. So she moves to a quiet town called Thurn, and in that town she decides to build that shop. Now the problem with this is nobody in the city's ever heard of coffee, so it's going to be a real struggle to get that to happen. The book follows Viv as she builds her shop and starts to make her business. We get found family with a succubus, a gnome, and a ratkin joining their crew, and we also have a little bit of a mystery happening with the dirty underbelly of the city. I think this is the perfect cozy read this winter because it's just a warm hug in a book. It's low stakes, but it really is high rewards, so I hope that you'll read this one. Our next book is released on the 18th of November, and it's Brimstone by Callie Hart. This book is narrated by Stella Bloom and Anthony Paolini, and it's the much anticipated sequel to Quicksilver. For those that haven't read Quicksilver, this is a romantasy book following Ceres Fane, a young woman who gets herself into trouble and manages to accidentally open a portal to a new world and is thrust into a war. We've got a romance with one of my favourite MMCs written, Kingfisher, and oh my goodness, the banter in this book is fantastic. Also, the spice is really, really hot, and some of the quotes coming from Kingfisher, oh my goodness, I squealed. So I really hope you pick this one up because I'll certainly be rereading it before Brimstone releases, and I hope you do too. Also releasing on the 18th of November, we've got the debut book by Emily Kremholt, Violet Thistlethwaite is Not a Villain Anymore, and this one's going to be read by Emma Ladji. Now in this book, we're going to have another cozy fantasy. Now I love cozy fantasy, so I'm really excited for this one, and it's going to follow Violet, and Violet has been the right hand magician to a really evil sorceress for a long time. Now suddenly he dies, and once he's dead, Violet makes the decision that she's going to become good, and to do that she moves to a tiny little town and decides she's going to open a plant shop. So once Violet moves to the new town, she's going to have to solve a mystery because there's a blight killing lots of the plants in the town, and while this is happening she enlists the help of Nathaniel, another plant specialist in the town, but he's a bit grumpy and he doesn't really want anything to do with Violet. So the story's going to go from there. I'm really hoping this is going to be a fantastic read because I do love a good book with planned companions, and these seems to have these by the bucketful. Well, the 18th of November is stacking up to be an incredible day for book releases, and this third book is no exception because it's Silver and Smoke by Helen Schuerer, the third book in the Ashes and Thesmar series, and the first book being Iron and Embers. Now, this series is a spin-off to the Legends of Thesmar trilogy, so I really do recommend that you go ahead and if you haven't picked those up, pick those up first because they're well worth a good read with some incredible cliffhangers in them. But just to summarise, Iron and Embers follows a young herbalist who is invited to a secret school of alchemy, and we follow her journey as she learns to navigate that new school, and we're not quite sure who to trust and what's happening, and there is a mystery happening, and there's a lot of danger going on in this one, and a romance to boot. This is a fantastic read, and I really do hope that you pick it up. On the 20th of November, we've got a new release by Georgia Summers, The Bookshop Below. I'm really excited for this book because I love a book that's full of book Easter eggs, so I really hope this one meets that expectation. This book is going to be narrated by Gabriella Nellis Payne, and it's going to follow Cassandra Fairfax, a disgraced bookseller who gets the chance of a lifetime to take over a bookshop that always has to have an owner. However, she's not going to be able to do this alone, and she recruits Lowell Sharp to help her in her pursuit. However, Lowell Sharp is far more knowledgeable than she is, and I think that's going to really rub her up the wrong way. However, I do expect that we'll get a fantastic romance in this one too, so I can't wait to read it soon. On the 25th of November, I've got a book that I think I'm going to pick up immediately, and that's because it's the final book in the Legacy series. Now, this is The Dawn of Chaos and Fury by Melissa K. Rorich, and this one I think is going to break me because this series has just been fantastic the whole way through, and I'm so ready to see the ending, but at the same time I'm just a little bit scared about what she might do with this series. So in this one, it's going to be narrated by Laura Horowitz and Christine Leatherman, and they're fantastic narrators, and it really adds to this book's charm because I love an audiobook that's added to by the fact that the narrators are just that good. And in this series, we're following Tessa Lynn. Now, she is a fae in a world where gods have bestowed powers on some of its people and its children, and they're the legacy, and these legacy rule over the fae. Now, when Tessa Lynn comes of age, she's chosen to become the personal source for one of these legacy. Now, what that means is they'll be able to draw her magic, they'll be able to see how she feels, they'll be able to hear her thoughts, and it's like a forced mating bond. This is a really, really dark fantasy romance book with lots of high stakes and a huge cast of characters that I've really fallen in love with, and I can't wait to get to this final book, but I really do hope that you'll pick up this series too. On the 27th of November, we've got an amazing book that I'm really excited for, and that's Falling Stars by Imani Eriu, and this is the second book in the Heavenly Bodies series, and it's going to be narrated by Jane Collingwood. Now, I love this series. These books are beautiful, and I just so happen to have 3 copies of Heavenly Bodies. I've got the Fairy Loot edition, I've got the Waterstones edition, and I've got the exclusive Waterstones edition. And I can remember when we went to see her, I was really excited, and part of the reason I was so excited is because this was the first time I'd ever seen Waterstones put out a deluxe exclusive edition of a book for a debut author, and it just made me very, very excited for these books. Plus, it's based on the Zodiac, and that idea and the gods and the way that she's built this world is just fantastic because there's so much detail gone into it, and you really do need to follow all the information that's going on, so you probably need a little notebook while you're reading it to keep up with it all, but it's definitely a good series to get into. In this one, we're following Alara, who's a cursed fae, and she's prophesied to fall in love with a star and then to kill them both. So in her pursuit to get away from doing this, she flees from the court of the night and heads to Helios, the court of the day. There she meets a prince who takes her into his arms, and the story moves from there. I'm so excited for you to read this one, and I really do hope you pick it up and tell me what you think. So these are all the books I'm really excited to read this November. I really hope that you're going to read some of them too. Let me know which ones you're most excited for. And of course, if I've missed any, can you just comment and let me know what they are? Because I'm always interested in new recommendations. Thanks for watching today's video. Please subscribe to my channel and I'll see you in the next one.